Game 3 of TSM versus Curse here at the MLG Fall Championship. Teams are lining up. Doesn't look like we're going to see any early game shenanigans. Some quick wards going down by both teams over at Curse's Wraiths. So they're trying to suss out which path and keep an eye on St. Vicious on this Skarner. Meanwhile, Reginald going to go ahead and camp his own Wraiths. And not a lot of early action, Freak.
Yeah, the funny thing here, though, is TSM's level 1 is ludicrously strong. They've got just ridiculous power everywhere. Darius can initiate, Odd One's going to have really good damage, can start at any buff in the game and still jungle effectively. Reginald can check Brush, so can Chaos. Special's got a point stun, he's got Exhaust in there as well. And just like we saw in Curse versus TSM Game 1, they were able to deny Skarner quite a bit and shut down the Odd One. So, you know, I'm a little bit surprised to see TSM not invade, but on the same side, TSM are the favorites coming into this one. And hey, if we're the favorites, we should win outright. Why risk it on a level 1 fight?
Yeah, TSM Reginald actually going to go for those early Wraiths, but they do have a ward on there, so Jackie's going to just zone him out a little bit. He's still going in with those late waves, but he's not going to pick up Curse's Wraiths.
It's a nice move, though. It's a good attempt, of course, but you know, that ward coming down on the Lizard buff will watch for almost any invade that that Odd One tries. So it's ultimately a very safe jungle here for St. Vicious. I would be surprised to see any invades work very well against him.
Yeah, and a very smart move of Curse there to ward their own race to prevent against any kind of early game invades. Of course, Shyvana very dangerous over at that race and red buff early if you're going to do some level 1 counter jungling.
And actually, Saint's doing something really clever there. He ran around the back of his mid lane and immediately ran for the double golems because he doesn't want to get caught out doing Wraiths by Shyvana at level 2. He completely bypassed this ward that TSM put at the Wraith camp, and he's going to get himself, you know, level 3 and start his Lizard buff, you know, pretty safely without almost any risk of getting counter jungled. It's really, really smart play. And again, he's just trying to be defensive. He knows Skarner's going to have a hard time early on.
Yeah, everything else going pretty much up to standard play here in this game. 2v2 in bot, 1v1 in top. So no lane swaps as of yet, and as we were saying in Champion Select, a little unlikely to occur, we think.
Yeah, and it's just a straight on 2-on-2. Normally when you see a Taric picked up, you kind of want to swap that as TSM, but it turns out they didn't want to go for anything of the sort, and they're just going on a dedicated 2-on-2, which again I think just works in Curse's favor a little bit. Now right here, you've actually got that bottom lane completely pushed up, so it's how well can Curse or how well can Curse just sort of keep that minion wave right there on the turret and not lose any gold to the turret shots.
Yeah, of course, on the buckshot, they're going to help him farm out under that and clear those waves in that bot lane. So not too much of a farming risk there for Koff. He should be able to still do a pretty good job. You can see him farming up now under that turret. Westrice just hanging out, waiting to trade, getting some trades down, hanging out in the brush, trying to bait Dyrus in with Counter-Strike and Leap Strike.
Yeah, well, he's losing in minions right now, but part of that is because Dyrus is pushing out a little bit. This seems to be the sort of typical TSM strategy here. When they've got a Shyvana, all the lanes are pushing so that all the players of that team are free to leave and go help in the jungle and help, you know, Odd One counter jungle. Whereas if like Kopp and Elements would leave right here, right, they would lose so many minions to their turret, you know, and the same for Westrice, that entire wave would push to his turret and he'd miss out on like 15 minions worth of farm, which you can't do as a major carry. And so TSM all playing aggressively. They know Skarner's not very threatening levels 1 through 5, and so they're simply setting themselves up for the possibility of an invade whenever it might show up.
Yeah, their ward is now down, so they're not keeping track of St. Vicious, which will limit the Odd One's counter-jungling options because he's not showing his face in lanes at all. So that's going to take a little bit of the wind out of Shyvana's sails, as that's one of her kind of signature moves as a jungler, is the ability to counter-jungle very easily. But the counter-jungling also going to be helped by the fact that these lanes, like you're saying, are very pushed. So that'll allow a bit more map control and ease of assistance from the TSM teammates into the opponent's jungle.
Yeah, so right now we're seeing, you know, the junglers have made their ways back for their first buy. An early Vampiric Scepter for the Odd One, most of a Philosopher's Stone here for St. Vicious. You're seeing their jungle farm almost identical here, only 2 apart. So you're basically seeing, you know, a very safe jungle here, you know, much unlike that game 1 that we saw. But now you're seeing finally the beginnings of counter jungling. Odd One up at the top, stealing away golems. Actually will clear out the entire camp. He might be going for a actually Westrice with no health. They are almost definitely, I see almost definitely as Odd One runs away from the top lane. I really expected a dive here.
Yeah, I expected it too, especially with how well Dyrus has used Vorpal Blade to just slowly pick away at Westrice's life. But in the meantime, we have St. Vicious going to find him in the brush, and there comes the burnout. St. Vicious going to have to run away as Dyrus makes a juke down into that tri-brush.
And that's a total tell, of course. Westrice needs to recall back soon. They know they're planning for a dive here. Dyrus will, in fact, take turret aggro again just to put the damage there. Honestly, like, St. Vicious needs to just, like, go up top lane and let Westrice be, because they still have no ward coverage. Oddwood could honestly just continue trying to look for a gank, and there finally Westrice running very far away into that brush at top lane to finally recall himself back. He's got teleport. He won't miss out on too much, but he definitely needed to buy there.
Yeah, TSM taking an early 700 gold lead just on the strength of their farming in lane. Dyrus up, doubling the CS of Westrice so far. That's a huge difference right there. And looks like Reggie up a little bit on Orianna in mid lane. And also, because of the constant pushing by Corki, we see that Kopp has lost a lot of CS under his turret and is down about 20 CS himself.
Yeah, and that is those lanes pushing also working well, because they were, in fact, denying minions to the turrets. And again, they knew over and over again that Saint did not have any strong ganks early on. It's, Flash Skarner is decent, but they've all got tools to get away. Special can stun or exhaust. Dyrus can dash away. He can flash and whatnot, and it's going to be hard for Westrice to pin a stun down on someone with Shadow Dash. So, they're happy to risk that aggression, because it's unlikely their opponents will last hit everything under the turret.
Westrice went back. He has picked up a Doran's Blade now. Looks like he's trading much more effectively with Dyrus now that he has a bit more damage, and he's getting some more points into Empower. So he's going to be able to bully Dyrus a little more seriously in that top lane now. Trade still going down, looking real good. And at bot lane, looks like we have not much going on. The freeze is now much more favorable for Curse. They're not losing those minions, but Xpecial doing a great job of zoning Kopp out away from those last hits.
Yeah, and that's the difficulty here when you get a little bit higher level in that Graves Corki lane before Sona hits level 6, is your burst starts to mean enough that you can get really shoved out there. And Kopp's passive only adding so much armor and magic resist. He will take a lot of punishment in these kinds of situations. The Shatter is outscaling his natural armor his sort of natural armor gain. So yeah, Kopp's kind of in danger territory. As soon as Elements hit 6, I think that goes back in their favor, because any all-in by TSM gets completely turned around by Crescendo. Most of the time where your armor shattered away is just nullified because you're stunned up. And Graves will have his own burst being level 6. That his burst with collateral damage is going to far exceed Missile Barrage.
Yeah, and as you're saying, that P-Bomb Shatter combo right now doing well over 300 magic damage, so any trade definitely going to go heavily in favor if they can land a Dazzle or get him caught out.
Yeah, so we're seeing this top lane finally go back towards Westrice's favor. The initial, early stuff went really well for Dyrus. He dealt a lot more damage. Actually going to set up now. St. Vicious is level 6. He's going to flash for the pull, lands it onto Dyrus. Now, can they get the damage here? Crushed incredibly low. 1 hit to go, and that is first blood.
And I think that's, you guys have to remember, this is the Kha'Zix patch, and that
exact
the Avail is still there, where you can hit it after somebody flashes. That has been fixed in more recent patches, but Skarner's still able to do that, and it means a lot. It can mean first blood, and that's exactly what we saw right there.
Yeah, so really nice gank, and that's as soon as Saint hit level 6. Really, he could have ganked for almost any of these lanes and made it reasonably effective, but they said, you know what, the one we're going to go for is this long lane where Dyrus is going to be far out. Yeah, he's got dash and flash, but Impale should be enough. Westrice should get a stun, and that was the lane they wanted to snowball ahead. That actually tells you a lot about Curse's mindset, who they want to snowball ahead, who's going to be the big factor, and it's that they know to fear the Dyrus Shen split push. He's got Stand United. If he wins duels, you don't have an option against him. And so they want to make sure that Westrice will win those duels against him.
Couple early Doran's Blades, once again, along with those Merc Treads, going to mitigate a bit of the damage coming out on Dyrus with that Vorpal Blade, as well as protecting from Requiem, should that be a factor up in that top lane. Kopp and Chaos still having their AD carry duel here in the bot lane. The freeze still looking pretty good for Curse at this point. It's going back a little bit into the turret, but he should be able to clear this out now that he has a couple Doran's Blades. It'll be easier to last hit under that turret.
Yeah, and basically once you get, sometimes you get 1 Doran's Blade, but definitely once you get 2, you've pretty much got the very easy last hit mechanic of melee gets hit by turret twice, Castle get hit once, and then you have the easy last hit on top of that. Earlier on, you've got to rely on your support to prime those for you, and of course Elements, a top caliber support is going to be able to do that, but at this point now he's got the damage to easily wave clear and really really easily just follow last hit mechanics under the turret.
Yeah, and as we said, we did have that early 700 gold lead for TSM purely on the back of their farming, but the gap is close to 200 gold as Westrice caught up a little bit. We are going to see him going down on a Dyrus. He doesn't know Odd One is in the brush, but St. Vicious is going to come around. What's going to happen with this gank? Taunt's going down on Westrice. Dragon Form going to go across. He gets low, going to leap strike out, and so lucky for him, he saved that leap strike, but he will go down to Requiem. No, he does not. The ultimate saving him right there.
Just enough magic for us to survive. So that null magic mantle from the Mercury Treads, exactly all he needed, and he chugged that health potion early on as well. The regen just enough to keep him alive here. Unfortunately though, TSM had pink warded that lower brush, but Chaos getting zoned away from that ward. They've still got vision. That top lane though, great for solo mid. They've picked up the turret as well. So even if the gank doesn't turn into a kill, it might still turn into a turret, and that's still a gold lead for solo mid.
Yeah, Element's still playing in that brush right there, and Chaos going to burst him down, forces a flash out of Elements, so he got a little too aggressive with the footsie there in that bottom brush.
Yeah, once Corki gets a Sheen, he's got really incredible burst damage overall in a trade. You know, whether it's Phosphorus Bomb or the Missile Barrage together, you're going to put out just so much damage over your opponent, and Elements knew if there was a Flash Dazzle, he was immediately dead, so he had to burn his Flash unanswered. Just because he got a little bit too aggressive there, you know, kind of, I guess, not realizing that Chaos had just invested in a lot of damage really fast. Phage and Sheen already done for him. It's a pretty scary place to be in.
So with that top turret, we will see TSM regain their slight edge that they had earlier on in this game, and still pretty passive play here. Score only 1-0 in favor of Curse, but still, again, a little bit behind in terms of gold.
Yeah, but you know, the good thing here, actually, they're actually making an attempt here at Dragon, and they've got the pink ward in range. Chaos sweeps that one out, and now they've got a lot of vision here. There's a little bit of sight here for Curse. They can kind of see in, but it's very, very difficult. The teleport's up for Westrice, but so is the ult for Dyrus.
Requiem is down, though.
That's going to help him.
So St. Vicious looking like he wants to go in on this. They are. Dragon is getting dangerously low. Will they actually make a play here? Dragon gets taken by TSM. Shockwave only hits the Odd One. Reginald's going to go in and exhaust Elements. Chaos coming over the wall with Valkyrie will take down Elements, and that'll be a Dragon and a kill for TSM. Jackie now coming in from the side. Are they going to be able to get Reginald? X Special getting quite low as well. The ball and finished off with an auto attack from Jackie. Chaos still on the chase though. Takes out Saint. X Special will hit the Dazzle on Cop. Chaos is going to chase him down. Will they get X Special? But they're going to lose Cop for it. And that will be a 3-for-2 trade and a Dragon, all in favor of TSM, pushing their gold lead to about 2.5 thousand.
The unfortunate thing about that one is they actually wanted both Westrice and Dyrus wanted to show up into that fight, and they each canceled each other's teleports. Dyrus had shadow dashed in and stopped Westrice from getting in from a ward there, and Westrice the same way, using that counter-strike to stop Dyrus' stand united. So neither team really making it a full 5-on-5, but that fight just started so brutally. Reginald just got a full man mode, dove in and soloed out Elements. The difficulty though was that Elements burned his crescendo while Saint had already impaled Reginald. So Elements got a little bit panicked there and wasted his ultimate for really no gain. It was just, you know, 100 damage and that was it. If he had landed that in a more sort of structured team fight, I think it would have been a lot different for Curse.
Yeah, also Jackie just totally airballed his ult, only hitting Odd One, and so that made a big difference that he didn't have that later on in the fight to do some more AoE damage to the 3 other members of TSM that were sitting there by Dragon.
Yeah, if they got all those together ultimately, if they actually landed their ultimates properly, and you've got Orianna and Sona on the same team, your ability to team fight is ludicrously good. And unfortunately, you know, they both wasted their giant area of effect crowd controls as just minor damage instead.
And everything returning back to normalcy here in this game. All players back in their starting lanes. We still continue to see Westrice trading heavily with Dyrus. Dyrus has picked up Sunfire Cape though, so it's not going to be quite as easy for Westrice's Jax to do that damage. Of course, taking the AoE whenever he gets close to continually use Empower on Dyrus, which has been his strategy for trade so far.
Yeah, and that shield really makes it a lot more difficult to do anything about it. So you know, Dyrus, he has good sustain, of course, that Vorpal Blade being really, really important for him. And so it's actually caused Westrice to grab a Vampiric Scepter in order to stay in lane and not have to chug potions constantly to survive these encounters. No, I don't think that means he goes Gunblade. I think Trinity Force is still the option for him. But, you know, it slowed his build down even more. He's not built any dedicated damage items yet, 15 minutes into the game.
Yeah, St. Vicious actually just checked Tri-Brush and didn't clear out the ward there. Not sure if he didn't see it or he's playing some sort of mind games, probably the former. But going to go back and just hit the Wraiths instead. Jackie and Reginald continued to farm up in this mid lane. Pretty dead even in terms of farm so far. And a little bit of a gold advantage for Reggie coming off of some of these global objectives, the tower and the dragon the TSM has managed to secure.
Yeah, so you know, ultimately TSM is happy to play the split push game because they're winning these solos. Cop getting jumped on so very hard, doesn't manage to quite hit Xpecial, but either way, Cop was forced to run away and not able to put any counterattack damage onto KX. Westrice in a 1v1 up top lane with Dyrus, getting dropped pretty low as well. And yeah, you can just see, you know, both from the top lane and the bottom lane, TSM are winning each of these setups.
Yep, and they are definitely looking like the stronger team in this game. They do have, they continue to widen the gap just off of CS in this game, and they've pushed it back to turret, forced Cop back once again, and this looks like it'll probably be a free turret for Xpecial and Chaos.
You know, I'm a little bit surprised. I guess without Crescendo up, really, they're just very afraid of KX's damage output overall. If they get that Phage proc, it just would crush St. Vicious' health bar. And so, you know, even with two members there, they were completely unable to defend the turret.
And Chaos also getting quite fed at this point, up 3-0-0 in terms of gold right now. He is... wow, 6,400 to 3,800 from Cop, so significantly up on Cop at this point.
Oh, it's huge, yeah. I mean, not only the 3 kills and the farm lead, but by the way, an 80 minion farm lead, but 2 turrets and a dragon helps that quite a bit as well.
Yeah, so, and Chaos is, you know, the one person, if I was playing against TSM, that I wouldn't want fed. And here comes the Requiem, actually, as they catch Dyrus out up mysteriously inside Curse's jungle by himself.
Yeah, they were going for the red steal. Dyrus started on it, and Odd One and St. Vicious both showed up at the same time, and it ended up being Odd One who grabbed it as Saint's Smite was down. But the rest of Curse collapsed on to that in time, and ultimately a kill is worth more than the red buff, so that's pretty good for them. But Cop on the right-hand side just found out trying to defend his turret in a 2-on-1, a very easy kill, though it did make Chaos flash to grab it.
So this might be another tower now. Looks like we don't have enough minions in order to take it effectively, and that'll be TSM backing off that bottom turret as St. Vicious shows up. Curse looking like they're reeling right now. Jackie being forced to flash over the wall to escape the Odd One. Exhaust now coming down. Here comes Dyrus, stand united, and that'll be a dead robot.
Wow, and so I take that back. That Lizard buff was all it took for them to keep chasing down on Jackie. That slow, continuing to stack up and keeping him from getting away. Still, though, pressure all around the map. Dyrus, a little bit of a fight with Westrice. Chaos now finally getting that kill on that turret on the right-hand side lane. And now it is 3-0 in turrets, and TSM has kept the pressure on everywhere on the map.
Yeah, that is really what's doing them favors right now. They're able to react very, very quickly to Curse's moves just because they have all of these lanes pushed at all times, and they're forcing Curse to, you know, when you put this much pressure on lanes, you know where your opponents are going to go because they have to get the farm, they have to get the levels of the experience, and if not, you know, the pressure just becomes too much. They get free damage on their turrets, and you can dictate at this point where Curse is going to go if you're TSM.
Oh, and yeah, exactly, because they've got you know, just once again, this is how their strategy works. They've got the split pushers, and they've got the global presence, and they're winning all of their key matchups. So exactly what you said. It's TSM able to dictate whatever they want, starting fights whenever they want, you know, getting away from engagements whenever, because they're going to outpush. They're going to, you know, they're already winning in turrets. They've got complete control pretty much everywhere.
And we saw Curse trying to go for that dragon, and there's a shockwave coming down, Crescendo coming in, but there's no one to follow it up. So they're just going to have to back off. Curse getting a little overzealous. Now their ults are down. We see Westrice jumping onto Reginald. There's the leap strike. Will he be able to take him out? They're also fighting over blue buff. Chaos looks like he's going to go down, but he already has a Guardian Angel, and so he's going to come back up. Will he be able to get out? No! Big win here for Curse as they take out, well, Cop going to go down as well. Now we're going to have to push back on Jackie and Elements. Dyrus going to get the taunt in, but not very much damage there to actually clean it up. So we did see a 3-for-2 trade in favor of TSM. They're continuing to go for this, and looks like Xpecial going to die. No, he flashes over the wall. Elements picks it up with the Hymn of Valor.
That was a bit greedy from solo mid. You know, it was unfortunate because they could have won the fight. Oh my gosh, the Requiem coming out. Is it going to be enough? No! Westrice, not Westrice, sorry, but Jackie surviving at the last second there with a shield. But that felt so greedy from TSM. Like, so the first start of that fight was really good for Curse. They got the shockwave, the flash crescendo. I expected it, but no one wanted to follow that one up. They could have jumped Reginald right away, but then it was Westrice, you know, slightly misstepping in that fight. I think it was the right call to jump Reginald that forced him out of the battle. But he unfortunately lost that duel. But at the end there, it was just like they dove in and just got wrecked by blue buff plus Athene's Orianna, who's got max cooldown reduction, a lot of damage overall, starting on her death cap now. You know, really, really great play from her, making that happen. And the Guardian Angel Rush Corki just got killed anyway. I mean, that was just a great fight.
Yeah, absolutely. So Curse still going for this dragon. We might see a repeat. Unfortunately, Requiem is down. There's Shockwave onto Reginald, pulling him off. And that'll be a steal for TSM as the odd one gets in there with that smite, taking it away from Curse. Westrice backing off now. Reginald will die. But, and you have to say, that's probably worth it for TSM, even though they sacrificed Reggie.
Oh, absolutely. It's a bigger gold lead. I mean, yeah, they got the gold focused onto one of their individual members, but you know, global gold like that Dragon is still just worth it overall. And it's not like they stole away any major buffs. I mean, okay, they burned the Dyrus ultimate. That kind of matters a little bit, but yeah, TSM, they're keeping the pressure on. Now, it is showing them that their team fights aren't, you know, undefeatable here. That Jackie has hit now 2 really, really good shockwaves in a row. Both of them have pushed Reginald back, making him work harder and wait longer to start dealing damage to the other team. That's really, really, really important. So I gotta say that, you know, Jackie's really holding the team alive in these fights. But what they really need though is someone to build a respectable source of damage, because even though KX has gotten a Guardian Angel, you know, he's still got that Trinity Force. He's still going to be putting out a lot of damage. KX not KX, but Cop needs to get himself to that same level of damage output.
Well, and the thing about when you build Bloodthirster first on Graves is that you really don't start spiking in terms of damage until you get your Zeal as well, as opposed to something like an Infinity Edge. Gives you that sustain in lane and that presence. Now, St. Vicious and Westrice going down on Cop. Reginald is rotated up into that top lane. Wall of Pain preventing them from doing anything. St. Vicious going in. Here comes Orianna. The Shockwave will get the kill, but there goes St. Vicious. Westrice going to make it out, looks like. Jackie also pulling
Requiem
back, and here comes Requiem. Westrice, will you live? No.
And there you go. That's 2 kills for him for 1. A really good job by Reginald showing up in time and getting down there getting up there really to defend KX. That was a really good initiation, that 2-on-1. But the Wall of Pain, as soon as you saw that gigantic slow land, you knew that was a dangerous situation for them. And now with map control, it's Baron.
It's a Baron. And it also looked like there was a little bit of hesitancy and a miscommunication between Westrice and Saint there, because as Wall of Pain went out, Westrice's instinct was to leave while Saint's was to go in. So they didn't quite maximize their damage properly. Crescendo over the wall, that will be Baron for TSM, however, and that'll push their lead to about 7,000.
And that's really, really huge for them overall. Even, you know, who's the one who done KX? KX still got the Baron buff himself as well. So, you know, TSM pretty happy with how this all turned out. They got a 2-for-1. They just got control. Even the Lizard buff on Jackie lets him put some damage on Dyrus, but he's tanky, right? He's got a bunch of magic resist. I think Aegis might be next for him. He's got a lot of split push power. I mean, Sunfire and Ionic Spark is just a lot of minion killing power really, really fast. And with them having complete control of the map, Dyrus is going to go on his merry way and happily clear everything out and keep killing minion waves. Westrice needs to hurry up and finish that Trinity Force so we can actually start out-dueling Dyrus.
You know, I want to go back to that Dragon fight real quick, Freak, and talk about how in the games that we've seen Curse behind, TSM has kind of caught them with their hand in the cookie jar a couple times and really punished them for it. An odd one picking up the smite steal on that Dragon. Just beautiful work by them. But again, Curse having an issue finishing these objectives.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, they've not been able to steal any of them. That's actually a really, really relevant point. You know, game 1, KX stole that Dragon away, and I think, you know, it wasn't the Dragon that won them that game, but you're seeing this pattern sort of repeat itself, where Oddone is just simply outsmiting St. Vicious, or is, you know, they happen to be getting into steals where one person's smite is up and the other isn't. TSM's been just doing a better job. You know, outside of that early game strategy from Curse, they've been, generally speaking, doing a better job of stealing away important objectives just outside of fighting.
Yeah, and so, again, the players, like, just going back, they're going to pick up blue for Jackie. Chaos now sneaking around the jungle of Curse. They do have a ward in that brush, though. They know he's there. The ball going in as well, trying to push him back a little bit. Chaos has still just has that Trinity Force. He picked up a Vampiric Scepter, but not as quite as much damage without that BF Sword or any BF Sword finished items yet. Kops managed to pick up that Zeal, so he'll be doing a bit more damage with the extra crit chance and the attack speed.
Yeah, but he still needs some more items. Like he's behind Dyrus quite a bit. You're seeing 8,200 gold to 6,900 gold. That's a big difference. It's why Dyrus is winning despite building for minion killing. He's simply, he's just simply having a stronger time in these one-on-ones.
Yeah, you can see that we just saw collateral damage go across TSM right now. Now there's a Requiem up in top lane, which will finish off Westrice. Unfortunately not getting up there for trades, and this is going to open up even more map control for TSM, because Dyrus without Westrice there, they have a choice of either losing mid-turret or losing the second tier in this top lane pretty much, because now they have even less ways to stop this split push tactic.
Yeah, well, they've sent up Cop there, which is fine. He really wants the golden experience overall, and he's got great wave clearing. He doesn't even have to duel Dyrus to stop the split push. He can just clear minions out. But being that it's a 5-on-4 with Baron buff, this is 2 to almost maybe even 3 turrets that's going to go for TSM very easily.
Yeah, and they're going to have to back off as the minion wave is going to be cleared out by Jackie's Orianna. Kayak staying around for a couple extra last hits on these minions.
Yeah, now Westrice coming back in. You know, Jackie, he's being the one big playmaker here for Curse overall, that it's got to be sort of off of him. And with Reginald continuing to scale up in damage, though not necessarily durability, if Jackie can make some really good moves and keep Reginald out of the fight, possibly even kill him from long range somehow by having really good long range poke, TSM doesn't have a strong dedicated healing. Taric is really not someone you pick for the sustain. It's not Soraka or Sona where you're really trying to get your health bars back up. He's there, to be an aggressor, and he's there for the stun and the auras and whatnot. So, right now, if I'm Curse, I want to try to play this long-range game where the other team has to come into me. I've got Orianna and Skarner and Jackson on my team, and Sona, all of whom can work really, really well as counter-initiators. If Curse can get some long-range gameplay going and stymie any sort of aggression from solo mid, they're going to be in much better shape. Yeah, the one kind of weak link with that is, of course, Graves with his short attack range going to make it very difficult for a Cop to do sustained damage against a team that really wants to take him out. Well, yeah, that's going to be the difficulty overall, but it's up to him to play far enough back that TSM has to really expend all their cooldowns to start the fight, and if they start the fight, and it's onto Westrice or onto St. Vicious, then Cop could just be happily 500 range behind them and just be like, great, now you're in range, and start shooting at him. And that's going to be on Cop to be in the right place. Now he's still, kind of hurting for items overall. I think Dyrus is too tanky to die to him anytime soon. Not to mention his Bloodthirster stacks, which are finally full at least. They were low for a while, but without a Last Whisper, without a Phantom Dancer, Cop is not in the best place right now. Yeah, Jackie actually having to go up to deal with this Reginald problem they have in top lane. Saint coming up as well. We see Chaos also rotating up in that top lane along with Odd One and Special, so they're changing their focus a little bit after getting tired of sieging some of the other lanes. Going to try their luck in top instead. And that's going to be an okay job overall. I mean, they just have 2 secondary turrets to work with. They want to send Dyrus as far away from the rest of the team as possible, because that'll pull that 5th member farther and farther away and really force Westrice to use teleport. So they have sent Westrice in that one-on-one. He does have the Trinity Force finally. He should be able to put out some pretty good damage by himself, and we'll see if he's able to stop this push well enough, and if Dyrus really is able to keep pulling that attention away. Yeah, it looks like pressure is going to continue on bottom lane, but TSM happily backing off for the moment, so they're not going to keep up the split push. They're going to go back, pick up some more items. Reggie's going to pick up a Void Staff and an Elixir of Brilliance, so he's getting truly terrifying after having a fully stacked Rod of Ages and a Rabadon's Death Cap already. Oh yeah, he's just going to be incredibly difficult to deal with now with the enough magic penetration to crush through Jax's ultimate, enough ability power to chunk anyone heavily. Reginald's had a very good game. He's #1 in minion kills. He's #1 in champion kills. He's just having a phenomenal way with it, and being a hardcore carry mage like Karthus, that's exactly where you want him to be at. So, and the difficulty though is there's no answer for Requiem. He's never going to cast that if he's ever in danger of it being canceled. Now they can keep him out of range of Defile for a little while, but he's still got Flash and Exhaust. He's still got Shyvana and Shen on that same roster. The TSM lineup can lock Curse up long enough that Reginald can get in range and put out a lot of pain. And if you're Nijackie, do you make Reginald wait 4 more seconds, or do you ult the rest of the team and lock them up and try to put damage output? That's a hard decision to make because, you know, Reginald's just one guy.
Right. We also see Cop now picking up a pickaxe, looking to go for a last whisper, more than likely here, as he attempts to deal with the itemization that Dyrus has had. He has 268 CS and just a mountain of gold right now, over 10,000, nearly 11,000 at this point, and he's causing problems with that Sunfire Cape and all the armor and health that he has.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, and he's now also, you know, adding on to the pain because he's going for a Trinity Force here. That Phage and the Dagger spells Trinity Force to me, and that means he's once again going to get pretty far ahead of Westrice in dueling power. Now, West, he's got about 5 minutes to go until he can finish up the Guardian Angel. He's at, you know, just 100 gold and needs, I think, 1,600 to complete the rest of Guardian Angel here, and depending on how these lanes go, that might take him. I mean, maybe he gets it in one team fight with a quadra kill, but maybe he actually has to sit there and try to chug through minions for a long time until he can catch up. And they really need that for Westrice. If West and Jackie can pair together and drop Reginald out of a team fight, I think they can hope to outdamage Chaos because Chaos has dropped 3 grand on a Guardian Angel. They can hope to outdamage Dyrus because Dyrus is going for the team fight. They've actually caught Chaos. Can they get the damage up? A lot of crowd control. The Sentinel keeping Chaos alive, and look at the kills go down. They've got nothing, and Cup's going to fall first.
Yeah, and that'll be the end of this fight more than likely. They blew all their ults. Here comes Requiem. St. Vicious will fall as he gets lasered in his own jungle. Double kill for Reggie, and he'll go down, but 3 for 1, and that'll be a good trade for TSM. They should still have the life and damage to take out this Baron.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, even though they caught Chaos, he tanked through Dyrus' Shen ultimate, he tanked through Guardian Angel, and he came back alive. And with all those crowd controls used, Reginald had free reign to damage everybody else, finishing him off with that Requiem. There's no hope for them to stop this push. This is going to be their Baron for sure. Westrice trying to pull a pension away. Actually, Chaos burning his Valkyrie. This could be Westrice for the kill.
Yeah, he doesn't have any mana to get any more of his abilities up, so Westrice is simply going to chase him down and murder him. There comes the double flash. Chaos, what are you doing, man?
Oh, it might get him a kill onto Westrice. He's going to wait around. He finds it special here, puts the dodge on. He's actually got some good damage output. I think he's got lifesteal. So, oh, nope, never mind. Special to straight dueled him.
Gets soloed by Tarek, Jax.
Oh, man. That's a little hurtful, actually. Ouch. 600 gold till GA.
So Zeke's Herald now coming up on Tarek, so that's going to be maybe a little bit helpful, actually, in that solo duel, getting a few more auto attacks and that tiny, tiny bit of lifesteal in.
Yeah, you know, maybe. I mean, there's a chance. The problem is, though, Dyrus, right, if you just look at how TSM's been playing this game, Dyrus split pushes, and now with Sunfire Cape, Trinity Force, and Ionic Spark, very few champions in this game can duel him at this point. It's going to be really hard to get rid of Dyrus here.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see actually in that last team fight, what a brilliant stand united from Dyrus. He actually managed to do just oh, we have some action going on in this top lane as Reggie trying to zone out St. Vicious. But no cigar for the Lich up in that top lane.
Yeah, that's a good Shirelia's trigger, gets him out of there. The Wall of Pain went down. He kind of waited for it to time out, and they just simply booked it out of there. And I would too. That was not a fight he's going to be able to win, no matter how much he dodged layaways. It's still a lot of mana on a Karthus, and that Defile will hurt you for a while. So, you know, Westrice, you know, doing the best he can. He's not too far away from finishing Guardian Angel. It's going to allow him to put out a lot of damage in team fights. Now, Dyrus' ult will be back up before the next fight starts, but with Guardian Angel down, they could just do the same thing on Chaos again, and this time with Guardian Angel actually, you know, again, not available, it's actually going to be a worthwhile sort of exercise here because, you know, Westrice can tank through all the damage that Reginald puts out, and if they can kill off Chaos first, then it can just be the Westrice and Cop show, and they can do whatever they want and try to clean up the team fight at the end.
So, yep, and everybody playing very passively, expected from Curse with this Baron buff up on TSM right now. They are going to head back down their lanes, desperate to not be caught out. Jackie will go ahead and pop that Dissonance just to get back a little bit faster. Westrice playing a little fast and loose and bot, pushing back even though the first 2 tiers of towers have been taken out.
Well, you know, it's still his job. Like, he needs to catch up in this game. He needs to get some gold. Dyrus, though, waiting on the other side. Does he not expect the recall? Or there he goes, face checks it, finds Westrice, and Westrice must run from this. Yeah,
that stun, though, and the leap strike will get him out of harm's way pretty easily, and he'll resume his blue pilling in another location.
And that gives him Guardian Angel, so that's going to be finally the item he needed. But yet, 35 minutes in is when he completes that. We'll see if he can be the threat he needs. The good thing for him is Reggie, doesn't have a lot of durability. Like, he's got Rod of Ages in a Giant Spell, and I'm sure I'm going to get mocked for calling that not a lot of durability, but it's a late game Jax. Like, Jax could burn through that without much difficulty.
Yeah, without any kind of resistance really on Karthus. You know, you can get the HP, but doesn't necessarily help as much in the late game.
Yeah, and here's a chance for them to go in possibly, because they've got the Wall of Pain down. Well, I guess now it's back up, so too late on that one. But you know, they need to hope for some kind of flash pull and like crazy burst damage, right? This team can put out that kind of juice. So the difficulty though is Westrice does not have teleport, whereas Dyrus does have Stand United. So if TSM knows that, they've got a really good move here where they could force a 5-on-4.
Yeah, TSM should know that, but they're still playing relatively tentatively, and we have the trades still going down under turret. Dyrus easily winning these trades with Westrice right now.
Yeah, he's just so far ahead of him right now that there's no way that Westrice pushes him away.
Yeah, by the way, guys, Dyrus is about 3,500 gold ahead of Westrice. We can see right now, Dyrus sitting at 13.5 and Westrice sitting at about 10. So that's a massive difference.
Yeah.
Nearly a full Trinity Force right there.
Exactly. I mean, it's what's getting him, you know, the Sunfire Cape and Ionic Spark, and he's still almost got most of Guardian Angel on top of that.
Yep, and Dyrus continuing the split push. Jax trying to pull it out, but this bot tower is getting pretty low. Only about 500 HP remaining, as Dyrus is the thorn in Curse's side that just refuses to go away.
And you know, they've got to pick up something to stop that, because as soon as that turret falls, Westrice has no tools at his disposal to stop him anymore. They're actually going to dive in on St. Vicious here. Yeah, and here comes the Requiem going down immediately, trying to make this gank work. We have the Impale hitting X Special, pulling him under turret. He's going to take a few hits. Nobody's going to die. Everybody's gotten pretty tanky. But that'll allow Dyrus to continue his split push, and that turret now at 77 HP. One auto attack will finish it off, and that's exactly what TSM wanted. Now we have a naked inhibitor in that bot lane. And that's going to be probably their next sort of area of focus. Baron, you know, to be up pretty soon, and honestly, heck, Dyrus still has his ultimate backup. I mean, they could just sit around at Baron, have Dyrus push bottom. They guarantee that someone defends that. And it's either a free Baron or it's a free inhibitor, because Westrice is not going to win that fight. They've got to send 2 to stop him.
Of course, and Dyrus really doing a good job. You can see the tactics here. So, of course, that bottom lane is super important because it's the lane on purple team that's furthest away from that Baron. So putting pressure on that bottom lane can sneak you a Baron simply because of the walking time distance between that bot lane and Baron for purple team. Now, we do have Westrice's teleport is up, so he'll definitely be the one trying to stop it down there. But if they can bait the teleport out, that's definitely going to, Baron will be a lot easier for TSM to get for a third time.
Oh, absolutely. And this is really like, you know, that lane choice was a conscious decision here for Team Solo Mid. They weren't sending Dyrus to bottom lane because it was the prettiest. They sent him there because it was the one that's far away from Baron, right? They know this map layout so well. Of course, they've rehearsed these strategies. They know that's where they want to send him. That's where they want to get all their advantages from. And that's how they're going to split Curse away. And again, they've got to send 2 people to stop Dyrus or they lose the inhibitor.
And here we go, back to putting pressure on this mid lane. They're pushing out. Reginald now coming around, skirting his own jungle by Baron. The wards are starting to come down. Saint and Cop and Jackie clearing it out, trying to maintain some semblance of map control. Chaos just going to Valk in, give Jackie a love tap, and Jackie will head back to the safety of his own turret.
And Jackie now going for his own Guardian Angel. He's pretty much keeping up with Reginald in items overall. His farm extremely high, both of them really. And they've actually sent their full team down here to deal with Dyrus. And looks like TSM, they don't care about Baron so much. They might go in for the kill here.
Yeah, this might be some sort of kill maneuver. Let's see if they actually get some damage down onto this inhibitor. They're playing very tentatively, relying on Chaos's rockets to clear out this wave. And there comes a big 500 damage crit on Jackie.
And that's going to keep being the case here. They're going to keep putting the damage up, but there's Dyrus and Special up in front. Reginald aggressive for the Wall of Pain, and of course, why the heck not? You're winning by so much. It's an easy push for you guys. The inhibitor is theirs without any contesting really at all. And now they've got full map control again.
And 5 seconds ago, Baron did come up, so that's the perfect time to take that inhibitor. So now the pressure on bottom lane is going to be even greater with that train of super minions rolling down bottom lane, and they're going to head over to that Baron and start the Baron dance pretty soon. We do have an Oracle on Odd One. We do have a couple wards, not a lot. So TSM needs to use them judiciously in order to maximize their vision here. And actually, Chaos, excuse me, just so aggressive here with those Valkyries trying to catch somebody out and do some effective trades as he manages to get a few shots down on various members of Curse.
I think he's trying to set up situations for Requiem here. We've seen a couple times now that Curse has sort of underestimated the Requiem damage output. There was the duel with Westrice and Dyrus the top lane 15 minutes ago where he got away and just dropped to the Karthus ultimate. I think the same thing here for Chaos, where he knows he has a teammate with Shirelles behind him in X Special. He knows he's got this Guardian Angel, and he can always flash backwards. He's just trying to set up that one kill where Requiem comes out, makes it a 4-on-5, and they get complete. Just get the game from there.
So game hits the 40-minute mark. We do have a 14,000 gold lead for TSM. Looking unlikely that they're not going to be able to take this one home as they're just trying to set up, make it easy for them to win with an extra Baron or by forcing a fight over here. Reginald has now picked up Rylai's as well, so that is just an utterly terrifying Karthus build.
Oh, he's in amazing shape here, and they're actually going to start out on the Baron. Curse, a potential 4-on-4 here, but the rest, look at that, the rest of TSM are pushing mid, pretending like nothing's even happening, but of course Odd One can tank that as Reginald does all the damage. They're going to pull in, they're going to go for KX, but they can't. Baron goes down. Now can they get the kills they need? Jackie taking a lot of pain, Dyrus shows up, there's Crescendo, who's going to fall? Special low, KX low, no one yet dying. And there's KX taking the damage. Can they do the damage? There's 1, 2 going down, actually caught for the double kill, but exhausted, he's gonna fall as well. This looks to be the fight for TSM here. They're still putting in the damage. Westrice the last alive, reviving, but he's now alone.
And we're still going to be sitting on top of that Defile. Goes down very quickly. Ace for TSM. They have Dyrus and Odd One up, still able to push that, and that just shows how much damage Karthus can do in the late game if he itemizes. I mean, what other mage champion would be able to like solo Baron with just his jungler for support?
Oh sure, I mean there's guys like Cassiopeia there who do have great single target damage output. And a late game Shyvana like this can tank it out anyway, but you know, you saw the difference there where if Reginald died, he still had Death Defiled. When Jackie died first, he stopped casting abilities, and that really helped TSM clean up that fight. And now, with no time left for revives, this will be Team Solo Mid taking Game 3, joining the Koreans in the winner bracket semifinals. Congratulations to Team Solo Mid.
Yeah, well played there by TSM. That game was just classic Solo Mid, showing how well they can team fight, going back to the fundamentals. You know, they're not a team that's known for crazy strategies. They're not the most inventive team, but when it comes to just fundamentals, they are just incredibly strong.